You know what's absolutely insane? There are retirees who spent 30 years dreaming about moving to some paradise retirement town, saved their whole lives, sold their house in Ohio or wherever, moved to coastal Florida or the Arizona desert or some mountain town in North Carolina. And now they're basically trapped in a place they can't afford anymore because everything got so expensive they're choosing between property taxes and groceries. I'm not exaggerating. We're talking about retirement towns where costs have increased 50, 60, even 70% in 5 years. Where property taxes alone eat up a quarter of your Social Security check. Where a modest 2-bedroom condo requires association fees that would have paid a mortgage back home. These were supposed to be the affordable paradises, the places you moved to stretch your retirement savings. And now they're financial nightmares where retirees are selling at losses and moving again in their 70s because they literally cannot afford to stay. So today we're going through 16 popular retirement towns that have become completely unaffordable for the people who moved there. Because someone needs to talk about the retirement crisis nobody's discussing. Let's get into it. Here's why this is happening and why it's an actual crisis for millions of retirees. For decades, the retirement playbook was simple. Work your whole life. Save what you can. Move somewhere cheap and warm when you retire. Live on Social Security and modest savings. Die peacefully having enjoyed your golden years. That playbook is broken, and it broke fast. Starting around 2020, popular retirement destinations exploded in cost. Remote workers fled cities. Wealthy retirees bought second homes. Investors bought rental properties. And suddenly the affordable retirement towns weren't affordable anymore. Here's what makes this particularly cruel. Retirees are on fixed incomes. Social Security gives you maybe a 2 or 3% cost of living adjustment per year. If your property taxes jump 30% in 2 years, that adjustment means nothing. If your homeowner's insurance triples, you're screwed. If your HOA fees double, tough luck. And you can't just earn more money. You're retired. Your income is fixed. When costs skyrocket, you have 3 options. Deplete your savings faster than planned and risk running out of money. Cut spending dramatically and live a worse life than you planned. Or sell and move somewhere cheaper, which means admitting defeat and starting over. The towns on this list were all marketed as affordable retirement paradises. Low taxes, great weather, active senior communities, and they were affordable. Past tense. Now they're expensive lifestyle destinations where wealthy people have second homes and middle-class retirees are being priced out. Some of these towns had cost increases of 50% or more in just 5 years. Property values doubled or tripled. Rents shot up. Property taxes followed. And retirees who thought they'd figured out retirement found themselves in financial stress instead of relaxation. This isn't just about expensive cities being expensive. This is about places that were specifically pitched as affordable retirement options, becoming unaffordable for the people who moved there based on that promise. Number 16, Prescott, Arizona, starting with the Arizona mountain town where cool summers came with hot property tax bills. Prescott was the affordable Arizona retirement alternative. Cooler than Phoenix, cheaper than Scottsdale, with that small-town mountain vibe. Property values have increased 40 to 60% in 5 years. Property taxes followed. What was a $1,500 annual tax bill is now $2,500 or more. Prescott has great weather and outdoor access. It also has retirees who budgeted for 2019 costs and are now paying 2020 for costs on 2019 income. That math doesn't work. The downside is Prescott isn't even that special. It's a nice mountain town, but is it worth financial stress in retirement? More retirees are deciding no and leaving. Prescott is where altitude didn't protect you from cost inflation. Number 15, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, the beach town where the cost of living washed away affordability. Myrtle Beach was dirt cheap retirement living with beach access. Cost of living has jumped significantly. Property values up 40 to 50%. Insurance costs are crazy because hurricane risk. The combination is pushing retirees out. Myrtle Beach is tourist town America. Putt-putt golf and seafood buffets. It was affordable, and now it's less affordable. The beach doesn't change. The bills do. The problem is Myrtle Beach is still kind of tacky. You're paying more to live in a place that's fundamentally the same tourist trap it always was, just more expensive. Myrtle Beach is where the tide came in and washed away your retirement budget. Number 14, Prescott, Georgia, Utah, the Utah desert town where Mormons and retirees both discovered costs multiply. St. George exploded during COVID. California and Pacific Northwest retirees flooded in. Property values went up 50 to 70%. What was a $200,000 house is now $350,000. Property taxes doubled for longtime residents. St. George is great weather and outdoor recreation. It's also becoming expensive and crowded. The small town vibe that attracted people is dying under growth pressure. The downside for retirees is you're in southern Utah. Limited health care, conservative culture, and now expensive on top of it. The value proposition disappeared. St. George is where Red Rocks met red-hot real estate. Number 13, Naples, Florida, the Florida Gulf Coast town where paradise pricing pushed out regular people. Naples was always expensive, but achievable for middle-class retirees. Now it's genuinely wealthy people only. Condos that were $300,000 are now $600,000 or more. Property taxes, insurance, HOA fees combined can easily hit $15,000 a year. Naples is gorgeous. Perfect weather. Great amenities. It's also become a playground for the very rich. Middle-class retirees are being priced into other cities or out of Florida entirely. The problem is Naples was supposed to be the reward for a lifetime of work. Now it's only a reward if you were very successful. Regular retirees need not apply. Naples is where the Gulf Coast became the gulf between you and affordability. Number 12, Bend, Oregon, the mountain town where retirees learn tech money ruins everything. Bend was the affordable mountain retirement option in the Pacific Northwest. Then remote workers discovered it. Property values doubled or more. A modest house that was $400,000 is now $700,000 or more. Property taxes followed. Bend is outdoor recreation paradise. It's also been completely overrun and is now expensive. Retirees who move there for affordability are watching their property taxes eat their fixed incomes. The upside is Bend is genuinely nice. The downside is you're competing with tech workers making to $100,000 a year remotely. Retirees on $40,000 a year Social Security can't keep up. Bend is where Oregon nice became Oregon expensive. Number 11, Bozeman, Montana, the Montana town where Big Sky came with big bills. Bozeman went from affordable mountain town to wealthy enclave. Property values have more than doubled in 5 years. A house that was $350,000 is now $800,000. Property taxes have skyrocketed accordingly. Bozeman has incredible outdoor access and Montana beauty. It also has California money that drove prices to levels locals and retirees can't afford. Longtime residents are being taxed out of their homes. The problem is Bozeman is now expensive without having big city amenities. You're paying Jackson Hole prices for a town with less to offer. Retirees are realizing that's not a good deal. Bozeman is where Montana became Aspen and forgot to tell the retirees. Number 10, Charleston, South Carolina, the historic southern city where charm costs more than expected. Charleston was the cultured, affordable southern retirement option. Not anymore. Property values in desirable areas have increased 50 to 70%. Historic homes that were for $100,000 are now $700,000 or more. Property taxes, insurance, and maintenance on historic homes are brutal. Charleston is genuinely beautiful and has real culture. It's also dealing with climate issues, flooding, and cost explosions. Retirees who bought in for affordable southern living are watching costs spiral. The downside is Charleston's problems are only getting worse. Sea level rise, hurricane insurance costs, and costs that keep climbing. Retirees are starting to question if it's worth the stress. Charleston is where antebellum architecture met modern unaffordability. Number 9, Hilton Head, South Carolina, the resort island where golf and beaches came with unsustainable costs. Hilton Head was achievable for middle-class retirees who wanted resort living. Property values increased 40 to 60%, but the real killer is the ongoing costs. HOA fees, club memberships, insurance, property taxes. You can easily be paying $10,000 to $15,000 a year just to own a modest condo. Hilton Head is resort island living. It's also expensive ongoing even if you bought years ago. And on fixed income, those costs are crushing. The problem is Hilton Head is inherently expensive to maintain. It's an island. It's resort-focused. If you can't afford the lifestyle, you shouldn't be there. And more retirees are realizing they can't afford it. Hilton Head is where the resort life became a resort to selling. Number 8. Boulder, Colorado. The Colorado town where crunchy granola came with caviar pricing. Boulder was never cheap but was achievable for some retirees. Now it's genuinely wealthy people only. Property values doubled or more. A modest home is $700,000 to over $1 million. Property taxes on fixed income are unsustainable. Boulder has incredible outdoor access and progressive culture. It's also become one of the most expensive small cities in America. Retirees are being priced out by tech money and wealthy transplants. The downside is Boulder thinks very highly of itself. You're paying premium prices to live in a place that's nice, but not that nice. Retirees are deciding they can get mountain living cheaper elsewhere. Boulder is where Colorado cool became Colorado costly. Number 7. Santa Fe, New Mexico. The art town where Southwestern charm came with Manhattan costs. Santa Fe was the cultured, affordable Southwestern retirement option. Property values have increased 50 to 70%. What was a $400,000 house is now $700,000. And the cost of living for daily expenses has jumped dramatically too. Santa Fe has incredible art, culture, and beauty. It's also become expensive enough that regular retirees are being pushed out. The artist community that made it special can't afford to live there anymore either. The problem is Santa Fe is trading its authentic character for wealthy transplant money. And retirees who move there for the culture are finding the culture is being replaced by galleries catering to rich tourists. Santa Fe is where Southwestern soul sold out to highest bidder. Number 6. Asheville, North Carolina. The mountain town where hippie vibes met luxury pricing. Asheville exploded. Property values increased 60 to 80% or more. A house that was $300,000 is now $500,000 plus. And the cost of living for everything else has jumped to match. Asheville has mountains, culture, and that funky progressive mountain town character. It also has been completely discovered and overrun. Retirees who moved there for affordability are now in one of the most expensive small cities in the South. The downside is Asheville isn't even that big. You're paying urban prices for a town of 90,000 people. The value proposition for retirees has disappeared completely. Asheville is where Blue Ridge beauty became blue in the face from cost shock. Number 5. Sarasota, Florida. The Gulf Coast city where Florida retirement dreams became financial nightmares. Sarasota was the middle-class Florida retirement destination. Property values have increased 60 to 90% in 5 years. A condo that was $250,000 is now $450,000 or more. Insurance costs have tripled or worse. Property taxes have skyrocketed. Sarasota has perfect weather and beach access. It's also become unaffordable for the middle-class retirees who built the community. They're being replaced by wealthy New Yorkers buying second homes. The problem is Sarasota costs don't match Sarasota income for retirees. You're paying high cost on fixed income, and every year the gap gets wider. Retirees are being forced out of paradise. Sarasota is where the Florida dream became the Florida we can't afford this anymore. Number 4. Boise, Idaho. The Idaho city where potato country became priced out territory. Boise went from affordable Western retirement option to expensive boomtown. Property values more than doubled. What was a $250,000 house is now $500,000 or more. Property taxes have crushed longtime residents and retirees. Boise has good weather for the region and outdoor access. It's also been completely overrun by people fleeing California and the Pacific Northwest. The small city charm is gone. The affordability is gone. What's left? The downside is Boise is expensive without having major city amenities. You're paying a lot to live in Idaho's capital, which isn't exactly a cultural mecca. Retirees are questioning why they're paying so much to be there. Boise is where Idaho famous potatoes became famous for. Pricing out retirees. Number 3. Austin, Texas. The Texas capital, where keeping it weird meant keeping costs high. Austin was affordable Texas retirement with culture and university energy. Property values doubled or more. Property taxes are brutal even for Texas. A modest house can have $5,000 to $8,000 annual property taxes. Austin has culture and food and music. It's also become expensive and crowded and has lost the affordability that made it attractive. Retirees who moved there for cheap Texas living got expensive California living instead. The problem is Austin forgot it was supposed to be affordable Texas. It became expensive tech hub. And retirees on fixed income can't compete with tech salaries. They're being priced out of the city they retired to. Austin is where keeping it weird meant. Keeping retirees money. Number 2. Sedona, Arizona, the Red Rock paradise where spiritual enlightenment costs your life savings. Sedona was always expensive, but achievable for committed retirees. Now it's genuinely wealthy people only. Property values increased 60 to 90%. A modest home is $700,000 to over $1 million. Property taxes, HOA fees, and cost of living are crushing. Sedona has otherworldly beauty in that spiritual energy vortex marketing. It's also become a playground for very wealthy retirees and second homeowners. Regular middle-class retirees can't afford it. The downside is Sedona is isolated, has limited health care, and is now expensive on top of those challenges. The value proposition for normal retirees disappeared. Only wealthy people can afford spiritual enlightenment in Sedona now. Sedona is where the vortex is. Sucked away affordability. Number 1. Naples, Fort Myers area, Florida at number 1. The Southwest Florida region, where the retirement dream became a financial nightmare. This region was the middle-class Florida retirement destination for generations. Property values have increased 70 to over 100% in 5 years. Insurance costs have tripled or quadrupled. Property taxes have skyrocketed. HOA fees have doubled. The combination is financially crushing retirees. Naples is gorgeous. Fort Myers has beaches and lifestyle. And both have become unaffordable for the middle-class retirees who built these communities. Retirees are selling and leaving Florida entirely because they can't afford to stay. Hurricane insurance alone can be $8,000 to $15,000 a year now. Add property taxes, HOA fees, and regular expenses, and you're burning through $30,000 to $40,000 a year just to own a modest condo. That's most retirees' entire income. The problem is these retirees plan for 2015 costs. They're paying 2020 for costs, and their Social Security didn't increase enough to cover it. They're trapped. Either deplete savings and risk running out of money, or sell at whatever price and move somewhere cheaper. Neither option is the retirement they planned. Southwest Florida is where the retirement dream died of cost inflation. So what does all this mean? First, the traditional retirement playbook is broken. Moving to a cheap, warm place doesn't work if that place stops being cheap. Second, retirees on fixed income can't handle rapid cost increases. Social Security COLA doesn't keep up with property tax spikes or insurance explosions. Third, this is creating a senior exodus from places that were built as retirement destinations. The cruel irony is retirees are fleeing retirement towns. Fourth, the financial stress is real. These aren't wealthy people who can absorb costs. These are middle-class retirees who save modestly and plan carefully. And the plan's broke. And fifth, there's no easy solution. Retirees can't earn more. They can't go back in time and save more. They're stuck making hard choices they shouldn't have to make in retirement. So there you have it. 16 popular retirement towns where costs became unaffordable for the people who moved there. This is a genuine crisis that nobody's really talking about. Millions of retirees are trapped in places they can't afford anymore. They did everything right, save, planned, moved strategically, and the costs increased faster than anyone predicted. For retirees in these towns, the options are bad. Deplete savings faster than planned and hope you don't run out of money. Cut spending dramatically and live worse than planned. Or sell and move again, which means starting over and admitting the retirement plan failed. For people approaching retirement, this is a warning. Don't assume costs will stay stable. Build in a buffer. Pick places that are cheap enough to absorb increases. And understand that nowhere is safe from cost inflation. The retirement towns that marketed themselves as affordable paradises became expensive traps, and the retirees caught in those traps are paying the price. So here's my question for you. If you're retired or planning to retire, how much cost increase buffer do you build into your budget? And if you're already trapped in an unaffordable retirement town, what are you doing about it? Let me know in the comments, because this is affecting millions of people and we need to talk about it honestly. And if you found this depressing but necessary, maybe subscribe. We cover housing markets, retirement planning, and economic realities nobody wants to discuss. Someone has to document the retirement affordability crisis. Might as well be me.